All right, hi, Faith Formation families that are in the First Reconciliation and First Eucharist immediate preparation camps. First and foremost, I'm going to explain what that means. I know there's a lot of lingo that goes into these sacraments, okay? Immediate preparation means that in the camps, so we have them called First Eucharist Camp, First Reconciliation Camp, that means that is where they learn how to immediately prepare for the sacrament. They learn how to go to confession, how to receive First Communion, okay? Those camps are completely dedicated to immediately preparing them to make that sacrament. It's all the how-tos, Where they get the theology and the faith formation for the immediate preparation, sorry about my cat, she's crazy, is in faith formation. If they're coming to the Monday night class for grade 2, or I know we have some 3rd through 5th graders that are joining us. Faith formation has to be part of that, and then immediate prep, okay? So they go hand in hand. If you're in Catholic school, your faith formation is already part of your academic curriculum. That's why you don't have to attend Monday night class if you are in Catholic school, but you do need to attend the camps. The camps are the immediate preparation for the sacraments. Okay, so that's the difference. I know that gets very confusing for people, and I try so hard to make it not confusing, and it always ends up confusing. But Monday night is for those that are in private school or public school that is not Catholic, that does not have theology and religion as part of their curriculum, okay? But if you're in Catholic school, we just see you for the camps. So hopefully that's all you signed up for. And if you had any discrepancies, you've already heard from Dawn, I'm sure. Dawn lets people know if you signed up for one or not the other and you needed both. That is why we have Dawn. She's an amazing administrative assistant. She handles all of the nuts and bolts, the paperwork, etc., of all of those things. So she will be emailing you and letting you know if we need something from you or if something's not in the right order or whatever. So be watching for that if she's emailing you, and she will give you that explanation for why. Okay, but if you still have questions, please let me know. You can do the email to that new email that we have, the brff@dor.org. So that's where all the emails are sorted, and any questions that nobody else can answer but me, then the email comes to me. But if it can be answered by anybody else, that's where it's sorted through there. Okay, I get so many emails that this is the way we're going to jump on that and try to sort it out so you get a faster answer from me. Okay, all right. First Reconciliation Camp. So what the Diocese of Rochester has said, and this comes from the bishop, this does not come from me. Anything sacramentally related goes by liturgical law, which is through the bishops and how they choose to handle the sacraments. I do not make those rules. I am only charged with carrying out what they tell me to do. But I do as much work around as I can. I try to be as super flexible as I can be, but I cannot change what they issue for the rules. And what they happen to say about First Reconciliation and First Eucharist in this diocese is that the students have to be in 2nd grade or older. And they have to have 1 year of faith formation or have regular mass attendance, and you have to have a letter from your parish priest, or an email in this case, to me that says, yes, these are faithful people that come to mass every week. That is, they can, we are able to work with them as far as sacraments go. The reason the bishop has this rule is so that your students who have not had any faith formation whatsoever, that their first year experience is not, hey, we're going to put you in a confessional and you're going to confess your sins. They don't know what that means if they have no foundation for what the faith is, who Jesus is, how to make the sign of the cross. You don't want their first year to be like the heavy stuff right off the bat, I make First Reconciliation not heavy. I do try to, we know they're in second grade, but it is still a lot for them to comprehend if they have no idea what any of this is about. So we need a year of them understanding who Jesus is, what's going on. And so, like I said, they have to have 1 year of faith formation, or they have to be regularly attending Mass, and your parish priest has to tell me that yes, you can, that your child is ready and able to be having faith formation. Okay. Or their sacraments. I mean, that they're able to receive their sacraments. I don't get to make that decision. That's not something I have the ability to do in this circumstance. So 1 year prior faith formation or exposure to the faith before they start the sacrament. Okay. Now, second grade and up, which means, okay, maybe they weren't so ready in second grade. Maybe COVID interrupted all that. Maybe it's not a good time this year. There's other things going on. I do have at the camp a class for 3rd through 5th graders that are going to work on making their sacraments. So if you have a child or know of somebody that has a child that missed that whole process, either because of COVID or moved here from another diocese that does it at a different time frame, there are some places that don't do it at that time, so maybe they missed it because of that. Have them reach out to me. We'll make that work. And I also do make up sacramental camps in the summer to try to get kids caught up with sacraments. So where there's a will, there's a way. We can work with people, and there's really no hard and fast rule like, oh no, you missed it in second grade, that's it, you're out of luck. It is not like that. So please let me know if any of those cases pertain to you or someone you know. Refer them to me. We want to help as many people get caught up as possible. All right. Okay, so once you know you're eligible, once you've signed up with us, once we've got everything squared away, you're taking faith formation either Monday nights because you're not in Catholic school, or you're having your faith formation at Catholic school. You're getting all that theology and understanding, and now it's time for the camps to immediately prepare. Our first 2 camps are in November. If you look on the schedule, you'll see the dates for those. Our camps look like this. They're from 9 to 12. It's 3 hours on a Saturday morning. They will come in, sign in, and then we will meet for prayer. And then we will break off into classrooms. They will have the first 45 minutes, maybe an hour, in a classroom setting, learning with teachers. Then for the second session, they come out with me and we do an interactive game, some sort of way that they'll remember the lesson. We talk about the lost sheep. We talk about, what is sin, and, in a kid-friendly activity way to teach them what it is that we're even doing here. What is reconciliation? Why is it important? So they get their wigglies out too, and if it's nice outside, we are doing that lesson outside. We'll get them some fresh air. It's a Saturday and it's beautiful in the fall, then we're going to take advantage of that. Go out, do that. Then we come back in, do another classroom setting type of learning. Usually there's videos involved, music of some kind. They will go through that, and then at 11:45 they come out to the main gathering space. We do a prayer, and then I supply a pizza lunch for not only the student but parents. You can bring other siblings and come back and have pizza lunch all together, so that when you're picking them up from this camp, they're not famished and you don't have to then try to hurry up and feed everybody, right? So I'm going to take one more thing off your plate on Saturday to make this easier for you, because we really, really want them to have a positive experience when they come to First Reconciliation Camp and First Eucharist Camp. I'm trying to let them see that the sacrament is a community celebration. Everything about this with the camp should be celebrated, should be a good time, should be a happy memory for them. And yeah, going to confession, always brings out the nervous willies in everybody, but I'm hoping to work with them to realize it's really a beautiful sacrament. It's a way to connect with someone that tells you, hey, God loves you, you're forgiven. We know second graders are not hardened criminals at this age. They're just starting to understand what sin is. what's important to us is that they know how to do it. It's really not about what they're confessing as much as, do you know how to confess it when it becomes something that they're going to need to do, and recognize when when they need to do it. And so we're hoping to make it a positive experience for them all the way around. So it's something that they'll want to continue to do, to help them to grow as people, as Christians. So that's the goal for me, and I really do try to bring that enthusiasm to it. And it's been a really successful program. The first camp is the first half of the book that we cover. The second camp is the second half of the book. They will get a book when they're there. We have them. They will go home with that book after the second camp, so they'll have that in their possession when they leave. They will also have a card that describes exactly what's going to happen in the confessional, what they have to say, the prayers. They won't have to memorize anything. They'll just read off a card. If we have reading issues, and we might, let me know. I have some modified ones that we can do that are easier for students that struggle with reading. So all is not lost. We can figure that out. It doesn't have to be one particular way. Reach out to me if that's something that affects your child, okay? We've done all kinds of variations. That's nothing new to me. So don't be shy. Let me know. I might spot it anyway, because in our second camp, we do a rehearsal confession. And what we do is we have the students, they have so much fun with this. I say, make up the worst, most outlandish sin you can think of. And they come up with some doozies, I will tell you. A lot of car theft going on with these kids. What's the biggest sin you could have? They're all stealing cars. But anyway, we have them practice confessing that wild sin, because we make it clear that they know that I cannot absolve, or the catechist, we cannot absolve your real sins. You have to give us a fake one, but we want you to see how to do this. And they go in the confessional. They actually learn, how to do what they need to do. But we try to make it a really, it's really about the form. It's really about them knowing how to do it. There's really not any emphasis on, the darker side, the darker rep that First Reconciliation gets, and Hollywood does us no favors. It's always this dark, dismal, setting. I'm really trying to dispel that, and really trying to highlight the mercy, compassion, and love. And our priests are really good. Any of them, they love Confession Day. They just enjoy the kids so much, because, they don't get to hear kids' sins very often, right? Which are just, very sweet, I'm sure. I can imagine, because I know the things I hear that aren't confessions. So I can imagine it's a really, a nice day for them to kind of not have so much of the heavy stuff that comes in there. But they're very good with the students. Like, if they go in and totally freeze up, they'll talk them through it. They'll say, hey, let's look at your card. What do you need to do first? Let's make the sign of the cross. Can you do that? They will teach them through it. There will never be a time when they will be like, okay, you didn't memorize it, get out of my confessional. It's nothing like that. We all have the same goal in mind, and that's to get, these kids comfortable with this, and to really value it for their own sake as they get older, to always have positive memories around that. And that's what we're hoping for. After the second camp, they will be making their first confession. So that is we have a First Reconciliation ceremony, I guess, like it's a prayer service that happens on December 2nd. There's one at St. Thomas More and one at Our Lady of Lourdes. The one at St. Thomas More is at 9, and at Our Lady of Lourdes at 11. At those ceremonies, we will go through a liturgy of the Word, and then I talk through an examination of conscience, which just allows all of us to go through the 10 Commandments in a kid-friendly, language way, for them to start thinking about some of the things they might want to try to confess. It just helps them to think about it. And then they break off, and you go into the confessional. And they will have their first confession. I would ask parents to think about, now I know we all have different reasons for why we may or may not go to confession, I would say if you're comfortable with it on any level at all, if you would consider going to confession yourselves that day. I can talk about confession all day long. Father Hart, Father Timon, they can all talk about confession all day long. The greatest impact that will be had on these children is to see you as parents going in and going to that sacrament too. I've seen the faces of children that watch their parents go, and the pride that comes up in them, knowing that as a family you're all going. It shows them it means something to you. It just really just hits home with them. I've seen it happen over and over again. So if it's something that you're willing to consider, please do. Again, I know everyone has reasons for why they don't, if they don't, or they do if they do. And that is a personal choice. So it's not like I'm going to stand there and do it. I'm not going to be checking off who's going and who's not. I would just say, if you're comfortable with it, please think about it, because it does have an impact. Your children will appreciate that example that you're going to, and that they did something that you can do too. It's a really good thing for them. So just think about it. That's all I ask. No judgment from me either way. Just throwing that out there, okay? All right, then after they make their first confession, at the back of the church, they'll pick up their certificate. Hang on to those certificates. That's a great way to keep a record of, your sacraments. Okay, moving on. First Eucharist. And so again, same thing. It's set up, the camps are set up for that immediate preparation. It's still that 9 to 12 time frame. The first camp of First Eucharist, we will have the first 15 minutes as a parent meeting where I will remind you of all the things that we are talking about here, but also if there's any changes, if there's anything that we need to address that has come up, or any change that happens in the diocese. The biggest one that I'm thinking about right now, our bishop does not allow us to have people receive from the cup. And so if that ever changes, then we'll talk about that. But what we will only be practicing, unless that changes, is for the children to receive communion in host form alone, not the precious blood. Until that changes, then we could. So if it changed, then we would talk about it at that meeting and how we're going to address that. All of the nitty-gritty details will be at that parent meeting that we have at that camp that day. Then after that, it's drop them off and they'll be there for the duration. That camp as well, it's classroom first session. Second session is an interactive, some kind of activity with me that really shows them what it means to receive Holy Communion and what this whole process is about. It's more interactive. It's more moving around, get the wigglies out, get the fresh air if we can do it. That weather might be iffy, but if it's nice, we'll be outside. If it's not, we'll be inside. It's okay. All right, and the same thing at 11:45, we do the pizza lunch. We invite the family back, and everything will be great. The banners that they create, the First Eucharist banners, this year we're doing that a little differently. We are sending that banner home with parents so that you can all create that banner as a family. In the past couple of years, we've tried to do the banners at the camp, and when I have 40 plus kids and I'm trying to run around with glue and cotton balls everywhere and things all over the place, it hasn't really allowed for a long time of creative flow. And I really feel like if you brought it home and worked on it as a family, you could not only do the design that's as is, you could even add some things to it. If you wanted to add some embellishments, make your banner very personal to you. I would love that. I have no problem whatsoever letting people have their creative license with that banner, because that banner has their name on it, but it also has what the Eucharist means to your family. What does this whole process mean? And it's just a great activity. So I think I am going to send that home this year. You work on the banner as a family at home. There'll be instructions too. So if you're not super crafty, don't worry. The instructions will be in there. And then on First Communion Day, when you're done with both camps, And also, just to let you know, I do a rehearsal at the second camp. They'll do a walkthrough rehearsal with me. They'll learn exactly how to go up and receive communion. We will practice with an unconsecrated host so that they can taste what it tastes like in the whole 9 yards. Get all that out of the way so that when they go for their first communion, it's not going to be this shocking, thing. So we'll go through all of that. They'll be all ready. You won't have to come to a separate practice for that. When it's time for First Communion, the last week, the April 28th, is the last weekend in April. That's going to be when we do First Eucharist for Our Lady of Lourdes and St. Anne's. And then that May 5th weekend, it will be where we do Our Lady Queen of Peace and St. Thomas More. The idea behind that is that you can have your first Eucharist be at your home parish, wherever you're from. Now, if you're not in one of those 4 parishes, if you're coming to us from another parish to do your prep with us, I can send you with a letter to your home parish saying, yes, they did do their immediate prep and their faith formation with me, or if you did faith formation somewhere else and you're just doing immediate prep with me, I will connect with your faith formation director. We will figure that out and make sure that you're set. Then you can go back to your parish priest and say, I did all this preparation. My son or daughter is ready for First Communion. And then you can make it at your home parish so that your records can be recorded wherever you want them to be recorded. Okay? I don't have borders. I am open to whoever wants to learn. Okay? So I don't worry about any of that stuff as long as it's okay with your parish priest. I am okay with teaching anybody that wants to learn what they need to learn in the format they need to learn it. Okay, so it's all about helping you to get your children the sacraments. So if you're not in those 4 parishes, I will make a way for you. If you ever run into the case where your pastor says no, I'll need to know that. But you want to start that conversation early. If you are from another parish, make sure that they are okay with it and then come and see me. Okay? All right. And when you're at the camps, that's when you will sign up for which parish you're going to be making your first Eucharist at. And then we will talk about all the specifics of that in that parent meeting about what you'll need to know. So those dates are pretty set. If you cannot make those dates for either First Reconciliation or First Eucharist, let's say you're out of town and you aren't going to be able to make it back for whatever reason, or you can't make it to the one at Our Lady of Lourdes and St. Anne's, but you are available for the May 5th one, you've got 2 options. You can either join the other parish for theirs, or we can establish that your First Communion will be at the weekend time that you need. What that would just mean is that your son or daughter would be the first one to receive communion at whatever Mass they show up, as long as I know that that's ahead of time. So it wouldn't be like a full program. It would just be that they would come in with their banner, be up front, be recognized by the community, and they would receive communion first. So if you can't join the First Communion as it's happening, let us know. We can arrange something for you. If you need a Saturday vigil to be your First Communion Mass, let me know that as well. We can arrange those. And I know some people, because of flights that they have to catch on a Sunday, moving out to go be to work by Monday, people run into that. So if you need it to be on a Saturday, let me know. We can arrange that. So I'm trying to be as flexible as I can be on my end to help out whatever your situation is. But if there's something I have not covered here that you still have questions about, feel free to email us at that brff@dor.org. And if Dawn doesn't know the answer to that, she'll send it my way and we will get an answer for you. Okay? Hopefully that helps. Be sure to hang on to this video or know where to find it if you get more questions coming up in the next few weeks. But otherwise, we will see you in November for our first camp. So that schedule is below. Feel free to check that out if you did not get it, so that you can make sure that you're present for all those, but be expecting to get emails. You will see them for First Reconciliation Camp if you are signed up for that. So take care, everyone. We will see you soon, and God bless.